Hello, I think that everyone who is familiar with the Chinese earphones market, especially with the affordable segment, will agree that TRN has become one of the biggest players of this segment and of this market. They released a few really successful models, V80, V90, VX, also probably V90S, but I didn't test them, but anyways, feedback is pretty good. They also created a few interesting multi-balanced armature setups, BA5 for example, and they created a pretty good true wireless model T300 that I recently reviewed. They announced and actually released 15 balanced armature per ear model BA15. I haven't tested them, maybe in some future, who knows. But now they've decided to go to the more affordable segment and they've announced model TA1. Price is $38. I will add link to the Hi-Fi Go shop in the description. So really affordable, but TRN decided to use their approach to the sound and they utilized some good 8mm dynamic driver with some fancy diaphragm and so on. But what is interesting, they stated that they use Knowles balanced armature, which is great for this price tire, and also magnesium alloy housing, that is also a pretty nice thing to have. So really promising model for this money, and let's have a closer look. Package is simple, pretty minimalistic, but still better than, let's say, KZ offers in this price tire. As usual, inside there is internal box, so let's try to pull it out carefully without devastating too much. So inner box has this soft touch like coating, so it's hard to pull it out properly, but I'm a pretty consistent guy, so hopefully I will manage to do that, and I did. You can see pretty nice presentation. Inside there are earphones themselves. It would be pity if we didn't find them. So let's dig them out. We are getting three bags of tips, so really generous offer from the TRN side, much better than vast majority of other companies does. So here are black silicone tips. Here probably, actually what is here? Seems that it's just one pair, so most probably it's foam tips. Let's see, am I right or not? We need to open. So yes, we're getting the foam tips, and probably here we will get white tips similar to these ones. So let's unpack it and see. Yeah, so I definitely have some clairvoyance skills, and actually you can see that bore's diameter is pretty similar, so main difference is in materials. Let's proceed to the earpieces themselves. So design is great. For $40 it's more than you can expect. And I still sometimes I wonder how Chinese manufacturers manage to create that for $38, and in this $38 included interest of reseller, TRN's own interest, labor, materials, so it's really surprising. So nice metal shells, pretty small, pretty convenient. Of course, they are created mainly for over-the-ear wearing, but you can try to wear them cable down if you select some other cable, but main is for the over-the-ear wearing. They are pretty comfortable, so they fit into vast majority of ears without problems, thanks to the small diameter. Spouts are a bit above average in length, so sound isolation is average. It will be enough for busy street or for public transport, but of course not for the subway or for the plane. There is a lip for holding the tips, protective grill, so all elements of much more expensive in-ear monitors are present here. Nice shiny look, and what is more important here, they almost not gathering fingerprints, so I like this material. Of course, some fingerprints are staying here, but they not noticeable, so really practical in terms of everyday usage. Here used MMCX connectors, and it's a bit worrisome for me because in the affordable segment MMCX are often a weak point. But let's hope that TRN knew what they done and they used some good MMCX connectors. Moreover, currently they are clicking in place really nicely and hold really firm, so I'm not sure how they will behave after a year or so, but anyway, let's hope for better. Anyway, cable is nice, basic but good. There are ear hooks to hold the cable and reduce microphonics. Microphonics is really low here, cable is soft, nice and fancy looking, so nothing stellar, but also much better than traditional cables in this price tier. So also you will get a free stripe of velcro for cable organization. It's nice additional accessory. Anyway, everything is done nicely. You can see that TRN tried to deliver maximum value, and I think they succeed. And of course about the sound. Quite probably you've already seen few reviews. There are some videos on YouTube. Maybe you've seen text reviews on the Head-Fi or on some other forums, and probably you've noticed that opinions are pretty different and there is no common consensus about the sound of this model. Think that TRN decided to do a bit non-traditional tuning. It's not something absolutely unique, but at the same time it's not what we usually get in this price range. So basically it's probably can be called as a V-shape or more precise W-shape sound signature with slightly boosted bass, accented upper mids and accent in the middle treble. And it gives pretty interesting results because it depends on your ear's frequency response, or it depends on your preferences in different parts of sound. The outcome depends on that, because all ears are different, and especially in the treble area we are sensitive to different parts of sonic spectrum. Some people don't like the 8 kHz area, for example, and that gives them metallic sound. Others don't like sibilance area with all that T, S and all that other sound, so it depends. Some like really boosted treble, others don't like it. So let's proceed to the review and see what TA1 offers. Let's have some player on the table to show the few examples, and I burned them in for about 40 hours, and during first couple of hours there were slight changes in sound signature. I'm not sure does it make sense in separate burn, in dedicated burn-in process, or you just can start listening them and they will burn in right in ears. More important is to find the proper tips to get the best seal and isolation. So low frequencies are slightly accented, but not too much, so Definitely it's not bass head model, and actually it's even slightly below average amount of boosted low frequencies in this tire. So quantity of bass is enough for me, but for those who like more low frequencies, they can be a bit bass light. But for me this amount is really great, and it's even better that quality is also nice. Don't expect balanced armature resolution, it's dynamic driver, but pretty fast dynamic driver, tight, impactful, with nice depth, not the maximum, but pretty nice. So it's not the model to crush you with deepest bass, it's not the model to overwhelm you with amount of low frequencies, it's more suiting for the acoustic instruments, and they're good in texturing, in representing body and small nuances. Of course, it's not something to compare with expensive models, but in this price tier, acoustic instruments sound pretty nice and realistic. And with electronic music it also sounds nicely in terms of punch and tightness, but if there are a lot of electronic music in your media library, probably you can prefer some more bassy model. But in my media library, electronic music is not a big share, so for me they are also really good option. And as an example, Lose Yourself to Dance by Daft Punk. I still can't mourn the loss of this great band, but we need to learn how to live after the Daft Punk era. And Lose Yourself to Dance sounds nice, pretty engaging, and at the same time bass is not moving to the first stage, it just stays in place. And what is important here for me is that bass is not boosted, and it's pretty well controlled, so it stays on place, and it allows mids of these earphones fully shine. To my ears, mids here is the best part of sound, and we need to thank Knowles balanced armature used here. I didn't disassemble them, but most probably it's true that there is a genuine Knowles inside, because mids are fairly balanced, they are detailed as we can expect from the balanced armature, but at the same time they are not too focused on the micro contrast, not sounding too bright or too clinical, and they have a pretty normal weight, so it's not common, but weight distribution is done nicely. So basically mids here are nice balanced, and mids are more common. Such mids are more common for a bit more expensive models, because you usually need more drivers to create such a balanced mids, and it's kind of what you put in, you will get back. And with poorly recorded tracks you will get that issues with records, but at the same time they not highlight the problems, and they won't try to boost macro dynamics, they won't try to add emotions, so if track lacks them they won't add that. But if all that stuff is present in the track, they will show it with great confidence and in a pretty engaging way. And imaginary stage is above average in width and in depth, just slightly above, but still pretty okay in terms of 3D positioning. And as an example for the mid frequencies, it's Charles Mingus Boogie Stop Shuffle. Nice fast tune with lot of instruments, pretty well recorded, and it requires nice and technical mid frequencies, and TA1 definitely delivers that. So, you know, kind of my subjective opinion, you can like dislike bass here, based on your preferences, you can have different opinions on treble, but mids are pretty nice, at least to me. And treble is interesting, it's boosted in the lower part, then area from about 6 to 9 kHz is reduced, and on the 9 kHz they have a spike, and after 10 kHz we've got a roll off. So what it gives from one hand, if you're sensitive to the lower treble, they can be a bit too bright for you. But in my preferences, I like that accent. It gives additional sparkle, it gives shimmering. In one of reviews, I've seen mention of excessive shimmering. For me, it's normal amount of that, and I like that. It gives additional crispness and a bit of additional airness. And on the other hand, more people are sensitive to that area that is reduced here. That 6 to 8 kilohertz. Usually it gives unpleasant metallic sound, especially on poorly recorded tracks, so it's noticeably reduced, but at the same time cymbals are lacking that overtones that should be present with them. But at least they play basic tones pretty nice. So it seems to me that they tried to create comfortable but not too soft treble, because that reduction of the 8 kilohertz area makes me think so. And spike in the 9 kilohertz gives a bit of additional airness and additional decays. Of course, extension is just average or even slightly below average, so don't expect rich layering, small nuances. It's just okay treble to play the basic tones in the treble area, and treble perception here is definitely depends on your subjective ear's preference. For me, this treble is good, but not stellar, because I'd like a bit of added presence in that area they've reduced. But I suspect that many people will like that tuning, because it's not super comfortable. It's not that soft like a sleeper treble, but it's still on the more or less safe area, but at the same time delivering basic tones pretty nicely. And as an example for the treble, I've got Marvin Gaye, Right On, the greatest male voice ever, with good accompaniment, and all that requires a lot of overtones. So voice a bit lacking that overtones, but still sounds pretty nice, realistic and engaging, and not fatiguing. In terms of pairing, they can be used, of course, with smartphones, with tablets, but probably the best result you will achieve with some dongle adapter or Bluetooth receiver or something like that, because they require a bit of additional resolution and control. Speaking about the conversions, there are a lot of models in this price tier, so just few of them. KZ ZSX that I pretty like, it's just fitting my subjective taste. ZSX has a bit more bass, but this one has a bit faster bass. On the mids, TA1 is a bit better because it sounds fuller and more balanced. And on the treble, ZSX is a bit more suiting my taste, because they have a bit more even treble with better saturation. What else we've got? Tripovin TC01. Tripovin is a bit more colder with a slightly more treble, especially in that area where it deeps down. And at the same time, mids are a bit more weighty, with a bit less resolution, but with a bit more weight, but difference isn't big. And also Tripovin is a bit better in deeper bass, while this one a bit better in the mid-low frequencies. So choice is really complicated in this area, definitely. Teen Hi-Fi, let's say T2 and actually probably T3 is a bit more focused on the micro contrast, sounds a bit more nitpicking and a bit more aggressive. Lot of other models that I probably can't recall right now, so TRN TA1, it's like, not the giant killer, not something stellar, but it's definitely a competitive model in this segment, offering nice design and sounds that many people can like. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day. Postscriptum, or additional bonus content for those who is watching video to the end. Slight additional observation: for me these white tips comparing with black ones, giving a bit of additional low frequencies impact, a bit better bass depth, and a bit more quantity of low frequencies, and even a bit of additional weight projected towards the lower mid. So if you like a bit of more weighty representation, white tips can give it to you. So this model is sensitive to the tip rolling. It's not huge change, but pretty noticeable, and usually bigger than usually other models does. So thank you for watching to this point, thank you for double attention, and have a double nice day.